Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Today we are returning to my favorite LJN tournament. Currently, we are on round 3, part 8. This has been, wow, this is such been a crazy long tournament. As I said from the very get-go of this tournament, this was going to be a massive undertaking, and I was probably looking at close to 80 videos, right? And I'm look at round 3, part 8. We finally we see light at the end of the tunnel. We are getting close to the end of the tournament, and for those of you who've actually stayed and watched each and every episode, wow. I'm sure there's still many of you who do tune in and watch, some episodes here and there, but for those that, again, I'm sure there's plenty who watch each and every episode, and thank you so much. 80 episodes for this tournament. I mean, that's crazy. That's I mean, I like I said, I wake up around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock every day, and one of the things I do is sit down, have a bowl of cereal, or maybe I'll make myself coffee in the morning, and I'll watch my episode every day. So I kind of enjoy it myself. So don't have a lot of information to put out before today's video. Uh, so this is gonna be today's Friday. This is gonna go out Saturday morning. I mean, I got a lot of pickups over the last couple weeks through eBay. Maybe I will do a pickup video Sunday morning. And Monday, I don't really have a planned video for Monday morning. Maybe I will throw in a My 10 for Monday. Because, actually, no. What did I say? This is part 8. Scratch that. I could just go straight through, have Sunday and Monday be 9 and 10, and close out round 4. And actually, I probably will do that. And that way, after Tuesday's Hasbro review video, and then next week we could just go straight into round 5. No, I don't want to do that. I still want to have a little bit of separation because I have other things I want to throw in. So, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have Sunday and Monday be something else. But round 3, part 8. The last 2 videos I made, man, I don't want to do that because the last 2 videos, they've been some of the most difficult selections. And I've had such a difficult time choosing winners in those 2 videos, and if it plays out the same way in this video and plays out the same way the next couple of videos, it's going to be really draining, and I need a break. So yeah, I'm gonna have a little separation. So part 9 and part 10 will come out Wednesday, Thursday, per usual. We'll do just 4 straight tournament videos. At 45 minutes per video, 4 straight days of tournaments is fine. But today's video, let's dive into the matchups. So Papa Shango Sheik will be the first figure drawn for today, and he will square off against King Harley Race from Mark Hackenberg. Next matchup is going to feature the Dragon Steamboat, and he will face Bret Hart from Wrestling Rider. Hate those matchups because I never know where to go with them. Hogan Series 1 will square off against SD Red, and we have another one of those matchups. And I'll talk about that one for those that aren't familiar with that particular matchup. I don't know why I keep getting that exact matchup. Butch Reed Special Custom will take on New Japan Hogan from random treasures. So let me go ahead, pull these figures, and we begin momentarily. All right. All right. So yeah, these last 3 videos, they just don't get any easier, and this, I feel like almost every single figure over these last 3 videos, I want to see every single one of these guys, not even in just round 4. I want to see them all in round 5. I know that's not possible. So when you're looking at 320 figures, not all of them are going to be round 5 figures. Not all of them are going to be round 4 figures. Getting them into round 3 really is sensational. I mean, I know I always classify round 3 as a very poor run for your elite figures. And let's be honest, the figures that we've looked at in these last 3 videos, they really are elite figures. So, Papa Shango, I look at this figure and I'm like, you know what? I watched Papa Shango growing up. Now, when Charles Wright, I didn't realize that Kama and Kama Mustafa, because as a kid, I didn't know names like Charles Wright. I didn't realize that Kama was the same guy who portrayed Mustafa. In fact, like all of these guys, I didn't realize that they portray these different characters not until I became a collector, right? As a kid, I didn't know that they were the same people. And that's the one most infuriating things about wrestling is all these different gimmicks. It would be nice if a lot of these folks just portrayed one character. Undertaker, he portrayed one gimmick for like 30 years. And he had one of the most successful characters in wrestling history. But the Witch Doctor, or I mean, people hated the Witch Doctor gimmick. I love Papa Shango. I thought that was one of the most coolest freaking looks ever. Okay. And all of the Papa Shango figures, I think, are amazing. With the built-on accessories, right? And with the, spin around his little bone necklace here. With the built-on hat accessory, real built-on, right? Now, the one I got from Raider Nation, the hat is like, Abraham Lincoln size. Not a good one. Built-on cape and everything. I mean, this is a splendid figure. I've gone back and forth between this one and the Junkyard Dog Papa Shango as far as which one I really enjoy more. The only downside I've always talked about with this particular one is the Iron Sheik pose, which never been one of my favorite poses. But when I look at like a figure like this, or I look at like the Stone Cold Steve Austin figure, they are darn near perfect figures. They look sensational. You take away the pose, I'm like, there is nothing wrong with the figures. The look, the graphics. I mean, Iron Sheik is a perfect rendition for a Steve Austin figure, especially based on 80s technology. I mean, they look almost identical based on that technology, right? So, this is a flawless figure. It really is. And what do I say? It's not exactly something that cost you a fortune to purchase either. You're not going out and buying this and paying $150 for this figure. These are you're buying them from random customizers off of like eBay, Mercari, whatever. And you're paying regular prices for these figures, and that, the value-wise expenditure, that right there, that means a lot to me as well. I think when you throw in the price with the figures, you throw in that incorporation of the price tag, I know the price or the value of what you paid into it really should have no merit of these tournaments and your determination of your favorite figures. But you gotta look at criteria, right? Because And there goes those darn tags again. Because then I look at this young Harley race that I got from Mark Hackenberg. This is one of those figures that I just get so freaking excited about. And he made his first appearance in my first round so late in the tournament, and I was so anxious to get this figure out. And when I finally got the Mark Hackenberg Harley race figure, it was the original Harley race repaint, purple repaint, and I'm like, I want to see the Harley race, but I wanted the young Harley race, the American colored version. When I talk about absolute flawless figures, and I was like, man, Mark, he can't do no wrong. The color and the texture of the figures, it looks like it comes from LJN directly. The lines are just so crisp and clean. The way that the boots and everything come out, beautiful. I look at this figure, I'm like, man, this has got to be a 4th round figure. I can't pass on this figure. Do I like the play pose of a Iron Sheik better than that of a Harley race? Absolutely. Much more playable figure. An Iron Sheik is definitely a less valuable figure than that of a Harley race. Not even close. Not even remotely close. A Harley race individually is like a $60 figure, where Iron Sheik is more like a $5 figure, right? So, I mean, that's something. But I didn't know anything about Harley race, not until I started collecting LJNs. And at least I could say with the nostalgia, I grew up watching Papa Shango, and his character absolutely meant something to me. So that's definitely something. They are 2 flawless pieces. I do have to go with Papa Shango, though. This was an absolute killer piece. Among Mark's figures, I don't know if I classify this as my favorite. It might be, because he's got some awesome pieces, but this might be my favorite piece. Because not just getting you a Harley race, but actually making the figure look younger, and of course with the repaint of the figure, it looks incredible. But Papa Shango, to me, he is the right choice, and he does move on to round 4. All right, so Papa Shango, King Harley race. And you know what? This just says King Harley race. This doesn't say King Harley race young. So that was the wrong Harley race figure. I'm going to pause real quick. So, yeah, like I said, I kind of screwed the pooch on this. It just says Harley race, not Harley race young, which means that this actually would have been the figure. It makes no difference. If young Harley race lost, this one would have lost as well. So, like I said, it would have made absolutely no difference. But I wanted to bring this figure up just to kind of show you guys what the correct figure would have been. So, yeah. And the 2 Mark Hackenberg figures kind of give you the... So, and with Mark, I mean, like I said, it's just the exact same LJN. He just put a different shade of purple, and huge upgrade. Redid the boots. I love what he did with this figure as well. So, when I saw that he was selling this figure, absolutely, I had to pick that one up. So question is, if young Harley race is still in this tournament, that might give him a second chance at life to move forward. And this matchup was, oh, what did I say? Sorry, my text keeps floating. So from Wrestling Writer, it was Bret Hart versus the Dragon. We will start with Bret. In my initial tournament, the first time I ever did my tournament back in March of 2022, this was actually my fan favorite. This would have been my selection to actually win that tournament. And I think he made it pretty far. I think he went as far as round 5, if I had to guess. I mean, this was based on like 130 figures between originals and customs. So, I mean, we're not talking about like a ton of figures, not like I have today. And even in the second tournament, which still had probably hovered around 200 plus figures, 180, 200, 210. I don't remember the exact number, but I mean, he was still like around 4, round 5 figure. It's still a fantastic piece. It's still one of the top 10 favorites, I would argue. But he falls in the same bracket of your basic Bret Hart figures, and that's play pose is out there. I love the overall paint scheme of this particular figure, and with the jacket off the shoulder, that's how kind of like I remember Bret Hart coming into the ring, right? So that's why this overall look absolutely means something special. So when I say that particular figure, is he a bona fide candidate to win my tournament? Yeah. He could. But like any Wrestling Writer figures, do I necessarily feel the same way about them that I once did? And it's hard to kind of have that same emotion or that same attachment to them that I once did. And then I look at figures like the Dragon, right? This is one of those figures I looked at and I'm like, man, I've got to do this LJN tournament because this could be my new favorite LJN figure. This is one of my 10. I think as long as this figure maintains a role in this tournament, he's got to maintain a spot in among my top 10 favorites to win this tournament. Does he necessarily defeat guys like Big Boss Man, Kamala, Big John Studd? Does he overtake this Bret Hart right here? Does he defeat Bruiser Brody and who's another favorite? Colonel Mustafa as an example. He is a resin figure. That is the only major flaw with this particular figure. Now, a resin figure most definitely can win this tournament. It's not necessary. I mean, I would covet, obviously, a rubber figure because LJN, after all, is rubber. But this is still LJN style, right? And to say that a resin figure can't win would be stupid. So it does have movable pieces, right, with the cape. And this is how I remember Ricky Steamboat. And you look at original Ricky, which is one of my least favorite LJNs ever. And then you look at the Ricky Steamboat that I can actually remember from childhood. And I'm like, yes. I might not like this Tom Zank Galoob fighting pose, right? But with the way that the arms are actually situated with the cape, this is actually perfect. So every time, you hold figures up and you get more and more opportunity to look at them and review them and talk about the figures, you realize that the arm positioning is absolutely brilliant. I mean, if his arms were even kind of like this, right? Because of you want to kind of showcase the cape. So the way that maybe using Tom Zink was actually a really good idea. So I'm looking at this figure and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling even better about it. I'm giving the chances of this figure winning. I think the chances not only of this matchup, but winning this tournament had just even gone up substantially. But the Bret Hart figure, Ricky Steamboat, I grew up watching Ricky Steamboat a little, but Bret Hart will always go down as one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And even though he may not have the best original LJN figure, because it's Bret Hart, it has a special meaning. And that means any of his customs will hold a special meaning. And this overall look is spectacular. And I don't know if I've got the strength to eliminate this particular custom just 3 rounds into this tournament. But I'm going to have to. This Ricky Steamboat figure is too flawless of a figure. And like I said, this is one of those figures I looked at and I'm like, it's going to win this tournament. It's a bona fide champion. When there was 130 figures, he was a round 5er. When there was 200 figures, he was around 4, round 5 figure. When there's 320 figures, I mean, there's no guarantees in life of where you end up. He could have potentially been a round 1 elimination. I still hold this figure in very high esteem, don't get me wrong. I could do this tournament 1,000 times. He could lose 1,000 times. I will always say that this figure has the potential to win my tournaments every time because of how much I covet this particular figure. I can't give up. I can't give up on the Ricky Steamboat, not yet. Next matchup. Now, back in round 2, we had the Ichiban Hogan from Wrestling Rider. And that Ichiban had the upgraded head, obviously, with the much younger Hulk Hogan head. And he went up against SD Jones, yellow shirt. Black and silver color scheme Hulk Hogan. Different head mold. Much younger Hulk Hogan. Beautiful custom work. A Series 1 figure. One of the greatest fighting poses ever. That Ichiban Series 1 Hulk Hogan could have legitimately won this entire tournament. But he was capped in the second round by an SD Jones. I did make the argument that if it was SD Jones red going up against the Ichiban Hulk Hogan, that I probably would have gone with Ichiban Hogan to move on to round 3. Because I always value the paint scheme of the yellow shirt much higher than that of the red. It's just a flashier figure. So, knowing that a Series 1, essentially a Series 1 Hogan lost to an SD Jones in round 2, and here we are in round 3, one more time, Hulk Hogan Series 1 squares off against SD Jones. Now we got original Series 1. I've made the argument that that Hogan probably would have beaten a red shirt. does that mean that original Series 1 defeats Red Shirt? I when I base off my figures off of my top 10 favorite LJNs of all time, top 2, number 10. But when I pick figures up, right, and I'm kind of like pretending to like bat them around, SD Jones is always the one figure I pick up because he's just a perfect figure. Even as a goof off. Now, I'm not sitting there, I'm not actually wrestling these guys or anything, right? But I'm gonna have to sit back. I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. I hate it. I know I'm going to go with the Hogan on this one, guys. It's an obvious answer for me. But knowing that I already lost SD Yellow in this round, it sucks having another SD Jones eliminated here in round 3. So, but I still think that a Series 1 Hogan is one of those guys that I still think that this figure is going to surprise a lot of people at the end of this tournament. I think freaking Hulk Hogan is going to win my tournament. A very plain, simple figure is going to end up winning my tournament. Watch. Because it's Hulk Hogan. For no other reason, nostalgia is going to get me this time. I never had a original figure in my tournaments in the past, right? I always had customs beat the original. And I've always said, if I ever had the original figure in like the very end of the tournament, it would be a lot different having an original figure at the very beginning compared to towards the end. So if this makes it to the end, that's going to change the whole ball game. All right. Last matchup is the Butch Reed squaring off against Random Treasures, Ichiban Hogan. And this is what sucks. Random Treasures did a freaking awesome job with this figure, right? I've already lost one Ichiban Hogan, and I would like to continue talking about this particular variant of Hogan because it is the late 70s, early 1980s New Japan Pro Wrestling variant of Hulk Hogan. And I've always said, man, you watch old video of Hogan in Japan, he's a very technical wrestler with his takedowns and everything, and it's spectacular. But you look at Hulk Hogan in WWF, and it's very showy, right? And when you look at him in ring, he was a rake across the back guy. He was a body slam guy. He was a punch to the face. He was a boot to the face. He was a leg drop, and that's basically it. He was a guy that got bear hugged, punched to the face. He did a little hook up. It was very simple. But you see guys like Andre the Giant and Macho Man. Well, Macho Man was spectacular no matter where he went, but you see Andre the Giant, you see Hulk Hogan, you see them in Japan, and Vader. Oh my God! Now Vader was a brute in WCW, but you see him in like WCW, and that guy was just full on like bar fighter. Who was it? Was it Vader and Murdoch that went into this full on like fist fight in Japan? Like my God, like they destroyed each other. But yeah, I enjoy talking about this particular figure. Yeah, when Madame Treasures came out with this particular piece, because it was another Series 5, I'm like, man, it's done to death. Stop it. But I love Hulk Hogan. I mean, who is not a fan of Hogan, right? And this particular look is spectacular. It's different. It's unique. And I just got a Series 1 Hulk Hogan that I had purchased, about a year before. Problem is, I bought the figure, but it never arrived. Like, I bought it from Eric, but he never shipped it out to me. So about, 14, 15 months later, Ram Treasures, they came out with this variant. And I'm like, shoot, I never got my Series 1. Why not? It's a nice addition to the collection. And of course, later on, several months ago, when I finally got that box in from Eric, I finally got my Series 1 Ichiban Hogan. So, problem is, guys, I mean, this is a no-brainer. I already know that the SD Jones, or I keep calling him SD Jones, the Butch Reed custom. Oh my God. This entire tournament, I've been calling him SD Jones. Butch Reed. Yeah. So right before, I don't know, something like, what was it, 40 episodes in the first round, so like around episode 35 or something, I think I purchased this figure, I got this figure in, so he made it in like right in the nick of time to be able to participate in this tournament, so that was awesome. And now, here he is, defeating Hulk Hogan in round 3. He's participating. He's going to be part of round 4. And Butch Reed could potentially win this tournament. Now, great thing is he is a rubber, he is a rubber figure, of course, but he is also part resin. So does that hurt his chances? Part rubber, part resin, maybe. But like Barbarian and like Mr. T, he's got that perfect play pose, right? Like Mr. T and all these other figures, he's got this awesome, fantastic, eye-popping look. So, like SD Jones, he's got great chances of winning this matchup, winning this tournament. So, Butch Reed, Hulk Hogan, next round, I don't know. Papa Shango against Butch Reed, Papa Shango against Ricky Steamboat. I'm curious how round 4 is going to play out. I'm curious how the rest of round 3 is going to play out. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take care, everybody.